League. And Patrick Diekman, congratulations. You defeated Cedric to put yourself into the finals in some really close games. What happened there?
Oh, yeah, that was like really, really close. I mean, in game one, I didn't have a shot at all. Like, I think that hand would have been reasonable on the play. Like, I think it had a good shot to win, actually, if I was on the play. But I already talked about it in the first match when I did commentary, that this matchup's like really dice roll dependent. And yeah, that's just what happened. Like, I drew 2 remands and just sat there and be like, well, it's pretty cool, but you're having 7 power of creatures on board, and I have 2 remands. So I just rolled over and died. And I mean, I think game 2 was the really exciting one to watch.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think I have to keep this hand. Like, it has the dream scenario opener, which is Serum Visions into Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, you described that when we were chatting earlier too.
Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, the rest of the hand was like really weak, 5 lands. And I was hoping for the top of my deck to provide something, but it failed to do so at first. And like I just saw Splinter Twin and Pyroclasm on top, and I was like, well, got to keep the Pyroclasm and hope for some more removal spells. But they didn't come, and then the game went like really, really weird because Cedric had 3 or 4. No, it was 3 Eidolon of the Great Rebel, and since he takes a ton of damage off of his mana base, he was already at a really low life total, like 10, and I was at 14. So when he did that all-in attack, I knew that the game would end the next turn, because like he would never do that attack if he wasn't holding the killer, right? So my board at that time was Bounding Krasis and Tarmogoyf and 2 lands. No, 2 lands and the Serum Visions. So yeah, I really had to pray for the top of my deck, and yeah, got the Lightning Bolt. And I think I misplayed slightly because I should have played actually like instead of fetching, because I was like, I mean, I know the percentage is like almost not there, but I was like, well, okay, he probably does not have 9 burn for this turn, so I'll just like get out of land and be like, yeah, one less bad card to draw, I guess. But in fact, what I should have done is I should have played the Ghost Quarter, because if I draw a Cryptic command, I could actually go for counter, bounce a land, and Ghost Quarter another one. And since he only plays 1 mountain, he can't fetch up another source, and that way he couldn't he couldn't have played all of his burn spells.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, you know, and he did have the win in hand as well. He was ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, congratulations. That was super exciting. I did want to take one second to say thank you to Dex Protection for sponsoring the Modern Super League. You saw some of the ads in between rounds, and we just wanted to say thank you to them. Are the players ready? All right, let's head down to the feature match. We are all set here for Cedric Phillips versus Sean McLaren. So Cedric just took a tough loss to you, Patrick, in a really close match, and now he's got to kind of get himself back together here and try to beat this Jund deck that Sean McLaren has. And it looks like Cedric has won the die roll again, so that's good for Cedric here. And how does his hand look from your perspective here, Patrick?
Well, in my opinion, it looks great, especially since Sean does not have Lightning Bolt. I mean, he has Abrupt Decay, and Monastery of Swiftspear is Cedric's only creature, but if he does draw a creature this turn, I think the game's almost over. And even if he doesn't, I think he's still in fine shape.
Okay.
Sorry, excuse me.
Oh, no worries. So let's see what happens here. Sean McLaren looks like he's got quite a few lands in hand. He does have the Tarmogoyf that did such good work for you, as a blocker. He's also got a Scavenging Ooze in his hand that he can use to maybe gain a little bit of life back later. But for right now, ooh, there's another creature off the top for Cedric.
Creature. That's great for him. I mean, Sean still does have Abrupt Decay into Liliana of the Whale, but he's taking quite some damage on the way. And what Searing Blaze, Scavenging Ooze is going to die right away, so gaining life is also not an option.
And it looks like Sean's just going to main phase the Abrupt Decay here. He doesn't want to let Boros Charm get him.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad for him.
And as it turns out, Boros Charm was in hand there for Cedric as well. So a nice little play there from Sean.
Oh, and there's the next creature.
And another creature off the top here.
Although Tarmogoyf should be big enough to once again stabilize the board.
Good old Tarmogoyf doing work here in the Modern Super League. Now, looking at the board here, a Tarmogoyf comes down. That's going to put Sean down to 14. But that's a pretty high life total. Like he's looking okay, right?
Yeah, I think he's looking okay. Like if he does stop drawing lands, of course, he needs removal spells. He has to enter the Eidolon because otherwise he's just going to take so much damage. And I mean, he doesn't have a lot of time, right? Like against the burn deck, you need to finish the game quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw that from you as well. Once you could start attacking with your Tarmogoyfs, you did. And you closed the game out very quickly against the Zoo deck. And we'll see if Sean can find a position where he can do that as well. He's drawn a Curd Ape for the turn, has Cedric.
Yeah, and that's not a bad draw. Like, if you can set up a huge board, Sean has to react. And he's going to take damage on the way off of the Eidolon.
Cedric's got 18 life to play with here. So he can afford.
Well, actually, he has like 19 life-ish because of Lightning Helix, but tough enough to do.
No, good point.
Yeah, I don't think that Cedric's life total is going to be relevant anytime soon.
No, it doesn't look like it. A lot of creatures here for Cedric in this draw. There's a Curd Ape. He does take the 2 damage. No attacks here for Cedric, who's just going to build out his board and pass a turn back. And let's see what Sean can find. Now he's found a Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, that's a great draw. It takes care of the Eidolon, and he can still play another creature.
He could play a Scavenging Ooze or even a Liliana if he wants.
Although he's going to take 2 damage, drops him down to 12, and Cedric is holding 11 damage of burn spells.
This Zoo deck, man, it piles up so much damage.
Yeah.
Now, is Cedric going to be compelled, though, to send one of those burn spells? I guess the Blaze kind of takes care of it. He's got the Wooded Foothills. Never mind, I retract my question. I was going to say he is going to need to kill the Scavenging Ooze, but he's got a burn spell that does that and still does damage to Sean. So,
yeah, but if Sean goes for Scavenging Ooze this turn, he's going to die right away.
Mm-hmm.
Because then Cedric will just go for... Oh, no, he still needs to top deck a land. Sorry, I got that wrong. But it definitely puts him in a very tough position.
All right, down to 12 goes Sean McLaren.
Oh, and if he does fetch, he might also just die to top deck land.
He's down to 11 right now.
Yeah.
And there's Liliana of the Veil. Now, interestingly, he could also
might go for
plus
discard,
Liliana.
yeah.
That is very
that's a
good.
reasonable option, yeah.
Let's see what he does here. You know, it's just a tough spot because I like so far. Did Cedric not play a land last turn? He didn't, so he knows that those are spells in his hand. Wow, this is great. Sean McLaren does plus Liliana here, and he's going to get a relevant spell out of the hand from Cedric Phillips here.
Yeah, very relevant spell. Like,
wow.
He's probably choosing the Searing Blaze, but he might also take the Lightning Helix and go for end of turn Searing Blaze. But no, it makes sense. He's probably now just going for end of turn Burn Spell and just like empty his hand as quickly as possible.
Because he can empty out one here and then play the other one on his turn. And if he draws a land, that he's empty-handed. If he draws a 1-drop, then he's empty-handed.
Yeah.
All right, so Boros Charm U down to 7. Now, he does miss a prowess trigger here by doing this, but it protects his hand, so he has to do it.
Yeah, and also Scavenging Ooze is still 2 turns away. Like Sean only has one green source available, and I think Ataka's command is lethal right away. Is it? No, it's not.
He blocks the Curd Ape. He takes 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, it puts him down to 1, I believe.
Puts him to 1.
Yeah.
Not bad. but he is going to lose the Lightning Helix. So Cedric is just saying, look, give me a burn spell.
Yeah, but I don't think that he has to attack here because, he might have to. I'm not sure.
It's interesting. Yeah, these zoo decks are so hard to play. I mean, they seem simple on their face because it's just throwing a bunch of burn and creatures at your opponent. But like, if you make one mistake with this thing, miss a damage or two, you lose. Yep. It's just that simple. It's such a punishing archetype to play.
Yeah, they are built in a way to like dish out 20 damage and no more than that most of the time.
All right, so he does decide to attack, and I think this is going to put Sean down to 1 and leave Cedric with no cards in his hand. So Sean is going to need to find a way to gain some life, but he's got a lot of work to do as far as the life gain goes. Like you said, he's not going to be able to play that Stomping Ground untapped here.
Yeah,
and I mean, scavenging, like there's a lot of cards in the deck that just win the game on the spot for Phillips if Sean's at 1.
Yeah, basically, Cedric has 2 turns to draw any free to your face effect.
Yeah, because the Scavenging Ooze is going to come down and be able to block as well, so a haste creature doesn't quite get the job done.
Yeah. No, he has to draw a 3 damage spell. Given that Sean does not draw another forest, then he has to draw a 4 damage effect, basically.
Okay. And he'll have a couple of draw steps to do it. So this is going to be a tight one down the stretch here. This is game 1. And there's Lightning Helix. Cedric decides that he'd rather just gain a little bit extra life. That could just buy him another draw step down the stretch here. Now let's see what Sean draws. He drew a Lightning Bolt.
Oh, that's a little late.
Doesn't seem to do a whole lot here. Yeah, a little late now. So, but Sean's actually at 2 after the dust settles here.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Lightning Bolt is still a pretty good draw as Tarmogoyf gets to attack. Like that way you can attack safely and have the Scavenging Ooze back. But I think I definitely would have gone for the Tarkas command.
Yeah, he does lose the damage by not doing it that way, right?
And I mean, if he does top deck Searing Race now, he's going to feel so bad.
For sure. All right, so he's completely empty-handed. Can Cedric find a burn spell here right away to try to win this game on the spot? No, he found a Wooded Foothills. And Sean McLaren can breathe a sigh of relief as he knows that he gets at least to untap here.
Yeah, now Sean, that one's probably not hitting play.
I don't think he wants Dark Confidant.
Now he has to draw Boros Charm, like 3 damage effects that don't get the job done.
And are we going to see Sean main phase? Yeah, he's just going to start gaining some life now that he knows the way is clear.
Yeah, there's no reason to wait.
And this also means that he gets to attack, right, with both creatures?
With both his creatures, because this is a 2-turn clock.
It's a 2-turn clock now, so this is it. Cedric Phillips has to find Boros Charm off the top, or this thing is in the books for Sean McLaren. A creature doesn't get the job done. Even a haste creature doesn't get the job done, and doesn't keep him alive for a turn either. So Cedric's going to wisely crack that Wooded Foothills and knock the top of his deck, and it's a Mutagenic Growth. Wow. So Sean McLaren grinds that one out, finds himself down to 1 life, or down to 2 life, but finds the victory just barely. And we're going to go to sideboards. Man, I'll tell you what, we got to say thanks to Cedric for bringing this deck to the table no matter how it ends up, because it creates some really exciting games.
No, and it's also a fantastic deck. Like, it's a really good deck. Like, obviously, like when it loses, it's sometimes like when it loses to itself, like it did in game 3 against me, where you like take a mulligan down to 5. It obviously doesn't look that impressive. But then again, take a look at game 1. It has a lot of free wins, and it's definitely a very good deck to play.
So we can see the players sideboarding here, and we've seen that Cedric, doesn't do too much extensive sideboarding, just because it looks like he's brought some pretty matchup-specific sideboard cards there that the matchups didn't really materialize here in the Modern Super League for him. Also, he just has to have critical mass, right, of small creatures and burn spells. He can't really mess with that formula too much, I'd assume.
Yeah, I mean, the black-green decks are historically decent matchups for burn anyway, so you don't, like, there's not that much to board in anyway, because burn is obviously a very streamlined strategy, so, I mean, you can't really cut on the creatures, you can't really cut on the burn spells, so, I mean, he took out Mutagenic Growth, which makes sense, and I couldn't see what he brought. I think he brought in Path because of Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, there's 3 Path to Exile now.
Yeah, and I mean, there isn't really anything else that he might want to bring in. Like, I can't think of any other red card that I'd want to have against John.
All right, looks like players have submitted their decks, and we're going to head back down for game number 2 here. Who's it going to be? Sean McLaren with his Jund deck, or Cedric Phillips and Zoo advancing to play you?
Well, I think Sean has great hand, and Cedric might consider keeping, but he has to draw land.
I see. If he keeps this hand and draws a land, then you like his hand quite a bit?
Yes.
But if he breaks, he did. All right. Sometimes you just got to spin the wheel with these Zoo decks. They really only need a couple of mana to go anyway. So he's halfway home. And like you said, he's got a wild Nacatl on turn 1 here as well. Looks like that thing is going to get bolted, though.
Yeah, I was kind of worried for Sean not having access to black mana, but I think he drew a Verdant Catacombs right off the top. So his hand looks fantastic. So, yeah, Cedric definitely needs some help from his deck.
And it looks like he's going to start things off with an Inquisition of Kozilek rather than the Lightning Bolt here. He might just want to set up the Tarmogoyf next turn anyway, right?
Probably.
Like, I mean, this lets him make a pretty big Tarmogoyf right off the bat, like a 3/4.
Yeah, probably. Like, he might consider discarding the Eidolon, but I think you take the Goblin Guide for sure. But that way, your Tarmogoyf is even bigger.
Yep, and then he's kind of all set up. Yeah, all right. Now, can Cedric find a land? No, but he did find another creature, at least a Kurdabe. Gets in there for a couple of damage. And yeah, I think that, we saw you play similarly to how Sean did, where you used your Serum Visions. You kind of set up a Tarmogoyf so that it doesn't die to a Lightning Bolt, and then it can block stuff. And that's what Sean's done here. Now, he used Inquisition to set it up because he's on Jund, but these turn 2 Tarmogoyfs that are already big are just, you said it before, Patrick, they're brick walls, right? I mean, this deck just can't get through them, the little creatures.
And I mean, Path obviously gets rid of the Tarmogoyf, but like these mid-range decks, Tarmotwin, also Jund, they got to work with the mana. Like, it's not that you're just killing the Tarmogoyf. Like, obviously it's out of the way for now, but with a slow hand like Cedric has right now, especially since he did not hit land, like, you're giving them a lot of options with the extra mana.
Yeah, this is super tough now for Cedric, having missed those 2 land drops. I mean, he kept a 1-land hand that had the chance of this happening. He knew what he was getting himself into, but he can't be happy that it's gone down like this, as he sees himself falling further and further behind. It looks like Sean has decided to leave up Abrupt Decay rather than fire off the Inquisition. Another wild Nacatl off the top for Cedric, but that's just not what the doctor had in mind here, as now Grim Lavamancer is going to be online as well for Sean McLaren.
Yeah, it is, like, I think the writing's on the wall. I mean,
it does feel like that.
But it's not that he has, like, 17 damage of burn spells in hand. Like, he has 2 Path to Exile that maybe buy him a little bit more time, given that he may find his White Source. But even then, he can only cast 1 per turn, and the rest of his hand is basically dead. Like, it does nothing. You can't even play the Eidolon anymore because he's so far behind on the damage race.
Right, that if Sean wants to just start turning that Tarmogoyf sideways, Cedric is going to be under a huge amount of pressure very quickly. Yeah, this is not looking good for Cedric Phillips here. He's already down a game to Sean McLaren, and Sean has control of the board. It's just a question of when does he want to start turning his creature sideways and applying that pressure to Cedric Phillips to really capitalize. It looks like he's going to clear the way a little further here with an Inquisition of Kozilek.
Yeah, and he's got to be pleased with what he sees. Like, I wouldn't even know what to discard, but that is only because, like, all of these spells do nothing. Like, he can't even cast them.
He can't even cast them anyway. He took away one of the Path to Exiles.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think he figures if he finds another discard spell, he'll be able to take that one too. Here comes Tarmogoyf, though, and this is the big turn. This is where, things sway in Sean McLaren's direction.
Yeah, now he's just going to play the Raging Ravine, and, I don't see a way to get out of this. I hate to be like this, there's no way, but...
No, I get it. All right, now there's a Sacred Foundry off the top for Cedric. That unlocks the Path to Exile. It basically unlocks his whole hand.
Yeah.
He needed to find it there if he was going to have any chance. Now he can use it to take down the Tarmogoyf. Or, it looks like he's just going to start rumbling here.
Yeah, now, he has a lot of work to do, though. And these Raging Ravines, they might just end it. Because he's at 11, that's, with the Lavamancer thrown in there, 2 swings, we see. Next turn, Sean is going to have enough mana to activate the Lavamancer and attack because of Path to Exile. So, it's definitely going to be tough to kill Sean in 3 turns without having any burn spells. He has 7 damage worth of burn spells, but he can only cast 1 per turn.
Yeah, 1 spell per turn, even just the Path to Exile to get rid of the Goyf.
Yeah.
All right, so both creatures are going to hit the red zone here. And the Path is going to take down Tarmogoyf, so that goes away. And that was the major source of damage for Sean at the moment. But as you said a minute ago, he also has a Raging Ravine in the backup that's going to get activated next turn and just start crunching in there for a bunch of damage as well. The Lightning Bolt for McLaren can take down that Wild Nacatl if he wants it to.
Yeah, and he's probably going to do that now because of the attacker's command, Yeah,
and he does. He just kills it right now.
Yeah,
and another Eidolon off the top. So brutal for Cedric Phillips. These are just not the cards that he wants to see. The Raging Ravines are just sort of sitting over there, ready to start rumbling, and Cedric knows it.
Yeah, he couldn't even kill these Ravines anymore. He has only 1 path left in his deck.
Yeah, the opening for Lightning Bolt is very short with Raging Ravine. You have 1 activation to bolt it, and once it gets that counter, it's out of range. Wow, and a Tarmogoyf off the top as well. He can't cast it this turn.
He can cast it this turn. I think he's just gonna put pressure onto Cedric, kill him in 2 turns basically. And next turn he can go for the Tarmogoyf if he wants to, but that's just going to be overkill.
Yeah, he doesn't need it, right? And it looks like Boros Charm is going to go upstairs here for Cedric. He's doing everything he can. He's going to get Sean down to 10 here. Another land off the top for Cedric, but it's just looking at his hand. He just doesn't have the tools that he needs to win the game. Yeah, and that's it. Sean McLaren wins 2-0 over Cedric Phillips. And they were pretty convincing games. You said it yourself that before you went down to your match, that sometimes the Zoo deck can lose to itself. It can have mana issues. It can keep a 1-lander that doesn't get there. Sometimes it has to mulligan more than you'd like, and doesn't really have a good way to come back either. It has to be ahead. If it's not, it really isn't doing what it wants to do. And we saw that here, right? The games that he won were very convincing. There was a couple of close ones, and then a few games where the deck kind of let him down, and he wasn't able to get there. So Sean McLaren is going to advance to the next round, and well, you know what that means, Patrick.
I got a revenge from the Pro Tour.
I like that. Pro Tour revenge. Yeah. So this is going to be you two battling it out here in our finals. Now, we're going to have you guys get set now, and we're going to take a quick break here at the Modern Super League. But when we come back, it's going to be perhaps the first match of the finals, perhaps the last match of the finals. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes.
See you then.